what to buy in bulk or what not to buy in bulk, and what to do with it once you got it in bulk. And then freezer meal tips, and our guest will be outdoors and green living guru Rob Greenfield will be with us, and we'll get to your garden questions. So, Holly, let's get in the program and let's talk about bulk buying materials. And maybe because of the situation we all live in, people were buying far too many rolls of toilet paper or hand sanitizer and other items, not really the bulk type of material in which we're talking about. We're going to kind of lean towards maybe more of the food aspect of it, but we're going to cover a lot of territory in this.
Right. So we're talking about food, like you said, edible bulk. And I know that a lot of people at one point maybe felt a little bit vulnerable or confused or conflicted or whatever. So this is something that you could apply to any time in your life. So maybe you get a warehouse store membership. Maybe you find a really good deal on some hamburger meat or bacon or tofu or whatever, right? And you decide that you want to purchase that, right? So you have to think to yourself though first,
do I need this?
Do I need this?
Will I need this in the next 6 to 8 months?
Right.
Or will I need it in the next 10 to 14 years? Big difference on what's the best avenue to go there.
Right. So that's what you want to do. You want to take into account your family size, your household size, and what you may consume. And you have to take that into account. So if you are a family of 5, you're going to consume a lot more than Joey and I, who are a family of 2. So that's, so that's something you definitely want to take into account. Whatever you're buying, how often you eat it, whatever. If you don't eat rice and you see this deal on rice and you buy rice.
If you don't like rice. And here's the thing. People will buy things they don't need and don't have the money for because it's on sale.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a back massager. I'll never need it, but it's 37% off regular price. We got to get it.
Mm-hmm.
People have a difficult time passing up things they don't need just because it's on sale. Just because it's on sale means it's less than the retail price, and if you don't need it, you've just saved all that money because you didn't need to buy it.
Right, exactly. So that's something you want to keep in mind. You got to think about your storage space, right? If you live in a small 1-bedroom apartment and you don't have a lot of storage space, you might be storing that 50 pounds of rice underneath your bed or something.
Right.
So you got to think about that too. Like, where can I put this? What am I going to do with it? And that's the biggest thing. Even if you are just freezing something, you have to think about your freezer space. Or if you say you're to the point where, like, I want to freeze a bunch of stuff, maybe you have to get a deep freeze.
Yeah, invest in an additional appliance that will, in the long run, you can buy more in bulk, or you can freeze more, get it in grow it, and in the long run, it'll pay for itself. But also now, just because, you want to deep freeze, you got to think smart about it. Oh, well, the 25 cubic foot is $1,000. That's 8 foot long. Yeah, we'll just get that. When really maybe a 5 cubic foot or a 7 cubic foot for $190 or $250 is ideal for what you need.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's another thing, is keeping that in mind, your freezer space, where you're going to put that. So the other one is that you have to think about something like flour. If you decide to purchase some sort of baking, dry goods, whatever, in the flour we get those bugs. What are those called? Weevils.
Yeah.
And they live in your flour?
Well, the
eggs.
The eggs are there.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you harvest the wheat on the farm, if you're gonna, if you don't treat the wheat, this is an inorganic means. If you don't treat the wheat with this chemical, it's a pill-like material. It's like a giant pill that dissolves over time.
Okay.
And the bugs ingest it in their lungs and it kills them. It's a toxic air deal. But anyway,
it's like a pesticide.
It's a pesticide. Yeah, they breathe it in, and when the eggs hatch, the baby ones breathe it in, and they die. So they don't eat the internal portions of the wheat. The important part of making the wheat, or the flour, is the wheat. So if you have a bunch of wheat with nothing internally inside of it, it's not valuable. It doesn't do any good. You can't make flour out of it. So you you spray the area first, and then you drop these pills in. At least this is how we did it. And it's just a very, tough, a very strong odor that comes out of it. But some of this stuff that if you buy in a bag and you let it sit in the cupboard for 6-8 months, you're going to see a bunch of dead little brown things. That's the weevil that have not been able to feed on anything. The eggs hatched because they weren't treated, typically because it was an inorganic, or if it was an organic means of harvesting, so they didn't use any of those toxicities to it. But that's what you've got to deal with. Now, we looked it up. You can eat that. It's not going to be, it's not.
You can eat it.
Yeah, yeah.
Did we eat some?
No, we were going to, and you chose that we would not do such.
Right. I kind of probably freaked out.
Yeah, but it is totally, it's totally, I guess it's a protein, I guess. I don't know. It's a bug.
It's probably protein.
We've ate far worse.
Right. But yeah. So there's that, right? So you have to think about how long you're going to have this flour for. That's another thing people were buying in bulk was flour because they were baking all the bread or whatever. So you have to think about that. What kind of, how long you might use that flour or how long it might be before you use all of it. Otherwise,
or divvy it up among a group of people.
Right. Or you might have weevil flour.
Right.
Okay. So there's that. Think about storage. Also think about the humidity in your home. Humidity makes food stale. So if you have a high humidity, if you live in a high humidity area.
And turn sugar into a giant block.
Turn sugar into a giant block or cotton candy.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to think about that too. That's how food gets stale. People think that something gets dried out because it gets stale. No, it's because of humidity. The moisture got in there, got stale, and that's what happened.
And that, you're wasting the money by buying in bulk, thinking you're going to save money, but yet in the long run, you're wasting it because you bought too much and couldn't use it and use it adequately, and then it goes to waste. So we need to be smart about things like this because we've all done it. We've all seen it on sale, thought, okay, this is what move we're going to make, and doesn't work out so well. Now, with some of this dry storage, let's talk about using like half-gallon can jars here that we can utilize, and that's going to keep the air out.
Right. So you can use half-gallon you can use half-gallon storage jars, and it does keep the air out. It does keep food fresh and something that you definitely want to do. So it works for us. Now, you can store anything from rice, pasta. If you buy pasta, you probably just want to leave it in the box and make sure that if you're buying it in bulk, you use the first out, first in. Is that,
right. Yes.
Yeah. So if you buy, say you find a really good deal on pasta, but you already have 3 boxes of pasta at home, you buy that pasta, just put it in the back, and then you're using the stuff that is in the front. That's how you usually typically want to do that. But something like dry beans, legumes, I like to use barley in a lot of soup during the winter, and lentils, and I will buy those in bulk from the organic food co-op. And, that's something that I store in the jars, quart jars usually. So that is something that you want to do. And then you want to think about how you're going to freeze it. Meat, if you buy a big pack of meat and there's only 2 of you in your house,
right,
you're going to want to separate that and then freeze it in a freezer bag for about 6 to 9 months. It's going to be good and not freezer burn. And then something like veggies, most of them need to be blanched or parboiled.
Okay, go over those terms because people may think, we just harvest it, throw it in a bag, put it in the freezer. That simply is not how you properly long-term storage these things. Right.
So, So what you want to do is veggies. So parboiling or blanching. Parboiling is like the older term or whatever, depending on where you live, what have you. So basically what you're doing is you are going to you're going to take your vegetables, whether it be beans or carrots or whatever, prepare them however you want them chopped, and then you take hot water, you put that vegetable in the hot water for usually about 2 to 3 minutes, and then you put it into an ice bath, and it's going to stop that process.
That's the key. You got to heat it, boil it, put it in an ice bath, stop the cooking of it in order to make that work well and work right.
Right. So that is, so that's that process. And then that's how you do the parboiling. And then you want to freeze it into whatever portions. We usually do, like when we do our green beans, we do about 2-cup portions.
Right.
Because that's what works for 2 of us. we use freezer bags. Now there's going to be food storage bags and there's freezer storage bags. You want to get the freezer storage bags. I think they're just a little bit thicker.
Yeah, they're designed to withstand the temperature change in the freezer. And then sometimes we will double up on it, just add another layer of protection on that. So a couple of things there. What about freezing fruit?
So fruit can be frozen. Now, if you say you find a really good deal on whatever, strawberries, peaches, I don't know, blueberries, and you're just using them for like smoothies or something like that, you don't necessarily have to do like what's called a flash freezing. Because
it's not for like a long period of storage.
Right.
You're going to pretty rapidly use these up, or what?
Yeah. Or like flash freezing is when you take and you lay the fruit out on a cookie sheet.
Okay.
And then you put it in the freezer until it's frozen, and then you put that in a bag, and that's just nicer if you're going to use those berries or fruit or whatever for, I don't know, like a dessert or something you want to look nice.
Now, obviously, if you put, you flash freeze the strawberries, and then you put them in a bag and put them in the freezer and you pull them out, they're not going to hold their shape. They're going to deflate. The flavor and the volume, the flavor and the juices are still going to be there, but the firmness of a strawberry you picked fresh is gone.
Right, but what you're going to do is, say you want to use them for a dessert, you're going to pull them out, put them in that dessert, and then they're going to thaw, and that's how it's going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just some of the things in which you should be aware of when it comes to buying in bulk. Be smart about it. Know if you have a source, and you can use it wisely, and if it really is cost effective. If it takes you a year and a half to go through a 5-pound bag of flour, doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
To buy 20 pounds.
Because it's a nickel cheaper per pound.
Right.
So, just because it's on sale, I tell Holly this, just because it's on sale doesn't mean you have to buy it. And if you don't buy it, you've saved the money on anything. Mm-hmm. So that's what you need to do.
Right. For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.